and welcome to Lyra.me. Millions of Americans alone suffer from chronic bone and joint diseases such as rheumatism, arthritis, etc. And unfortunately, those are chronic diseases, meaning that normal medicine doesn't know how to cure those, it knows only how to alleviate the symptoms or to reduce the pain, etc. But you will never get rid of them until you die, and it will get progressively worse. So what if I told you that already decades ago a man discovered a very simple mineral that can help you regain your bone and joint health, and this is what we call the Borax story. And we're gonna tell you everything you need to know about those bone and joint diseases and about borax, what it is and how this knowledge was suppressed. So let's dive right in and learn more about this fascinating subject. And we are going to start with some facts about all of these debilitating joint and bones diseases. And many of you are suffering from them. We know that because we get your calls every day. So those diseases are, for example, arthritis, rheumatism, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, arthrosis, enduring permanent pain in your joints and bones, reduced mobility that comes with it, and generally waning life quality. And with the billions and trillions of dollars the pharma industry spends in R&D on this subject, why is there no cure for this joint and bone conditions yet? The World Health Organization defines, by the way, rheumatism as a generic group of conditions with more than 200 different conditions in this group. They are all characterized by inflammation and acute or chronic pain in your muscles, your joints, and your connective tissue. And although those 200 disorders defined by the WHO have little in common in terms of their epidemiology and ontogenetic origin, they do share two characteristics. They all cause chronic pain or often intermittent acute pain, and secondly, they are very common and difficult to treat. Major rheumatic disorders currently recognized by the WHO include back pain, arthritis, arthrosis, bursitis, tendinitis, capsulitis, neck pain, osteoarthritis, palindromic rheumatism, and many, many more. And today, classical medicine considers most of those rheumatic diseases to be autoimmune disorders. So that means that your immune system protects you, of course, from diseases and infections normally, but if you have those autoimmune diseases, your immune system instead starts to attack its own healthy cells. So the question then is this possible? And today there are already about 140 classified autoimmune diseases that are listed, and many of those are in this group of 200 rheumatic conditions, such as ankylosing spondylitis, relapsing polychondritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, inflammatory arthritis, juvenile arthritis, Sjögren's syndrome, scleroderma, polymyositis, dermatomyositis, psoriatic arthritis, and many, many more, of course. And in our opinion, those autoimmune diseases as a group are a hoax, so to say, because the human body is simply too intelligent for this. It wouldn't turn on itself. All the health conditions actually which are not explainable and curable by classical medical school are automatically added into this autoimmune disease group. And about 75 million Americans have some or one of these so-called autoimmune disorders that are inflicting damage to their bodies. And that's, by the way, far more than people, for example, affected by cancer, which stands at about 25 million people only in the US, or by heart disease, which is also around 25 million people. And scientists aren't sure why, but the number of autoimmune diseases has sharply risen over the last 2 decades. So what kind of drugs will you be offered by your doctor as a therapy for those diseases? Well, they will most commonly give you medication that blocks your immune system or a specific step in the immune pathways. And that is given in order to slow down the damage that is being inflicted by your immune cells on the body. And drugs used to suppress the immune cells are kinds of poisons to the rapidly dividing immune cells, actually. The new autoimmune drugs are part, of course, of the multi-billion-dollar industry, and they aren't cheap. The prices for therapies with those drugs range from $1,000 to $45,000 per month, and therefore many people have a very hard time affording them. These drugs also come with a lot of side effects, ranging from mildly annoying fatigue or mouth sores, up to heart palpitation and even life-threatening infections and more. So let's explore next what causes these joint and bone diseases. And they are caused by the following factors. They act synergistically on different levels on the human body. First, they are the epigenetic factors. So the emotional mental level, your lifestyle, and environmental factors such as toxins play a big role. The second category that causes those conditions are bioenergetic. And those include cellular depolarization, changes in the energetic balance of your body, autonomous nervous system dysregulation, and biomechanical imbalances. And then the third one is the physical metabolic level, meaning those are metabolic changes in your bones and muscles caused by hormone changes, enzyme changes, mineral deficiencies, etc., and degenerative and inflammatory tissue. And in this graph below, you can see that all of those, like many conditions, if not all of them, are caused first by psychological and emotional events that are not solved. And they translate then and affect your ANS, your autonomous nervous system, which leads to a hormonal dysregulation. And if you don't take care of this, of course, this also means that you will have cell depolarization, and if you don't take care of those unresolved conflicts, you will develop chronic and acute conditions pretty quickly. Within a couple of months, you will already see the changes in your limbic and hormonal system, and those can be seen also in lab test results. And here, the most sensitive and weak organs will become sick after only 3 to 4 months, so very quickly. And if you still don't take care of those conflicts, after only about 3 to 4 years, you will have visible symptoms, organ functionality impaired, and cellular physiological changes. And after 4 to 7 years, you will develop degenerative chronic diseases such as those joint and bone ailments. And those kind of bone and joint conditions usually start to appear after the age of 40. Why is that so? Because before the age of 40 your cells can easily regenerate, but after you've passed your 40th birthday, the cells' healing and regeneration potential is significantly reduced and decreases further with your aging. Your body talks to you through the language of pain, inflammations, and stiffness, as well as benign and malign tumors. So your body literally tries to attract your attention to those changes in your body, and that you have your last chance to change your lifestyle in order to not develop those chronic conditions. After the age of 40, you usually start manifesting the first symptoms, and during the next 30 years, if not treated, these health conditions, such as those bone and joint conditions, will become chronic. You must start, therefore, the therapies around the age of 40 and have also a good prevention before you reach 40 in order to prevent those. Hildegard von Bingen, a very well-known healer in the 12th century, explained rheumatism as following. Quote, "Rheumatism causes are directly connected with the struggle of life, fear, and emerging disturbances of metabolism, triggering a disbalance of the body fluids, called tumors, and these are due to overeating and overdrinking. She called rheumatism a kind of life paralysis. So now that we've learned more about all of these so-called autoimmune disorders, the chronic bone and joint conditions, let's look at the side of the story, a cure that was really suppressed since it was discovered, even though it showed great results. And we're gonna dive right into it and tell you how it was discovered, what it is, and what health benefits it brings you, of course. So in the 1960s, a doctor in Australia called Dr. Rex Newnham developed arthritis himself. Conventional drugs did not help him, so he looked for other options, of course. He realized that plants, vegetables, and foods in that area where he lived were rather mineral deficient. And knowing that boron aids calcium metabolism in plants, he decided to try boron in the form of borax. He started taking 30 milligrams of borax per day, and in 3 weeks all pain, swelling and stiffness had disappeared. Many other people with arthritis were delighted as their condition improved as well on this treatment, and Dr. Newnham made tablets with a safe and effective quantity of borax to help those patients. Within 5 years only, and by word of mouth only, he sold 10,000 bottles a month. So after he came to those big numbers, he could no longer cope and ask a drug company to market it and produce it for him. And that, unfortunately, was a major mistake, as it turned out. Representatives on government health committees arranged that in 1981 Australia instituted a regulation that declared boron and its compounds to be poisons in any concentration, and this of course successfully stopped Dr. Newnham's arthritis cure from spreading in Australia. Dr. Newnham published several scientific papers on borax and arthritis. One of them was a double-blind trial in the mid-80s at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, which showed that 70% of those who completed a trial had a greatly improved condition. And there were also no negative side effects observed, and some even reported that their heart ailments had also improved, and that there was a better general health and less tiredness. Most of Dr. Newnham's later research was devoted to the relationship between boron in soil and arthritis, and he found that the traditional sugarcane islands, due to their long-term heavy use of fertilizers, have very low soil boron levels. Jamaica, for example, has the lowest level and the highest arthritis rates at about 70%. He noticed that even most dogs in Jamaica were limping. An interesting comparison is between Indians and native Fijians. The Indians are estimated to have an arthritis rate of about 40%, and they eat a lot of rice that is grown with a lot of fertilizers, while the native Fijians, on the other hand, with an estimated arthritis rate of only 10%, eat mainly starchy root vegetables that they grow privately without any fertilizers. So what is this miracle cure called borax actually? Well, it is difficult to imagine that borax has the potential to single-handedly bring down our pharmaceutical and medical system when it comes to bone and joint diseases especially. But you do not need to worry, the danger has been recognized, of course, and all the necessary steps have already been taken to diffuse this situation. Borax is actually naturally occurring, a mineral that naturally occurs. It's commonly mined from dried salt lakes and is the source of other manufactured boron compounds, and the main deposits are in California and Turkey. The chemical names for borax are sodium tetraborate decahydrate, or disodium tetraborate decahydrate, or simply sodium borate. Borax is commonly sold as a technical or agricultural grade borax with only 99% purity. Potential impurities consist of sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, bicarbonate, carbonate, sulfate and phosphate. And this grade includes the borax that is commonly used also as a household cleaner. Do not confuse this with pharmaceutical grade. Pharmaceutical grade is much purer and is also much more difficult to obtain. Borax is the sodium salt of the weak boric acid, and because sodium is strongly alkaline, this makes a solution of borax very alkaline with a pH of between 9 and 10, whereby of course a pH of 7 is neutral, as we all know. And when ingested, it reacts with the hydrochloric acid in your stomach and it forms boric acid as well as sodium chloride. The boron content of borax is 11.3%, while for boric acid it is 17.5% or about 50% higher. When ingested, boron compounds are rapidly and nearly completely excreted with your urine. And formerly, boric acid was widely used also as a preservative in foods, but is now banned for this purpose in most countries. Next, let's talk about the health benefits of borax. Borax as well as boric acid have basically the same health effects, and those are they are excellent antiseptics, they have antifungal as well as antiviral properties that are very, very strong. Boron is essential also for the integrity and function of the cell walls and for the way signals are transmitted across membranes in our bodies. Boron is also distributed throughout the body with the highest concentration in the so-called parathyroid glands, followed by bones and dental enamel. It is essential for healthy bone and joints function. It regulates the absorption and metabolism of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus through its influence on the parathyroid glands. Boron is to the parathyroid glands what iodine is to the thyroid actually. So a boron deficiency therefore causes the parathyroid to become overactive, and then it starts releasing too much parathyroid hormone, which in turn raises the blood level of calcium by releasing calcium from your bones and teeth. And this then leads to arthritis, osteoporosis, and tooth decay. And with advancing age, high blood levels of calcium lead to calcification of soft tissue, causing muscle contractions and stiffness, and calcification also of the endocrine glands, especially the pineal gland and your ovaries, but also arteriosclerosis, kidney stones, and calcification of the kidneys, which ultimately leads to kidney failure. Boron deficiency combined with a magnesium deficiency is especially damaging to your bones and your teeth. Boron also affects the metabolism of steroid hormones, especially of sex hormones. It increases low testosterone levels in men and estrogen levels in menopausal women. It also has a role in converting vitamin D into its active form, thus increasing calcium uptake and deposition into bone and teeth rather than causing soft tissue to calcify. Other reported benefits of borax are improvement of heart problems, vision, psoriasis, balance, memory, and cognition. And boron compounds also have anti-tumor properties and are potent anti-osteoporotic, anti-inflammatory, hypolipemic, anticoagulant, and anti-neoplastic agent. And with that, we come to the solution to your joint and bone problems. Based on our experience of preparing and handling ultra-pure pharmaceutical DMSO that is compounded with other great natural products, which makes up our Herbeso product line, link in the description box below, of course, we have created 2 new Herbeso products to help you specifically deal with those joint and bones problems. For that, we have combined ultra pure DMSO, pharmaceutical grade, of course, which is a great muscle relaxant, but also a great painkiller. It's antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. And of course, for the discussed benefits, we've combined it with ultra pure pharmaceutical grade borax, which has exceptional antifungal and bone remineralization properties. And we've also added some other beneficial minerals to support your bones, your cartilages, and your synovial fluid metabolism. For different infectious arthritis conditions that are caused by pathogens such as Lyme infections and the many co-infections of the Lyme disease, we have added also some specific antimicrobial herb dose preparations. And these Herbeso joint and bone products can be applied topically by painting them onto the affected area of your body, or you can also ingest them orally. And the combination of the two methods actually brings the fastest and best healing results. So here are the two products that I recommend to you. The first is Herbeso Healthy Bones and the second one is called Herbeso Joints Well. Link to both products, of course, in the description box below for you. The Healthy Bones helps you relieve the pain. It will help you with your bones metabolism and will stimulate also bone remineralization. It also reduces inflammations and swelling in your bones and affected joints, supports fracture and bone healing after injuries. It's best to treat osteoarthritis, arthrosis, osteoporosis and bone cancer. The Herbeso Joints Well is indicated for pain relief. It acts antimicrobially and it reduces infection, reduces joint stiffness and improves synovial fluid lubrication properties. It also increases joint mobility, reduces inflammation and oxidative stress in your joints and connective tissue, but also stimulates the capillary blood circulation. It's best to treat rheumatism, rheumatoid arthritis, arthritis and fibromyalgia. And if you have questions about any of the Herbeso products and those two ones in specifically, or Borax, do not hesitate to contact us. Shop at lyranara.com. Complete contact information is also going to be in the description box below. If you've enjoyed this presentation, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you need a customized therapy you deserve, then hit us up for our health and wellness services that are also going to be linked in the description box below. With that, you will get the personalized attention and help with your treatment as well as your diagnosis that you really need and deserve. And with all that being said, I hope that you remain healthy. Until next time.